Welcome and hello, this is Business Weekly with me, Mohammed Adan. Let's take a look at world's most interesting business-related stories. These are some of the stories we're going to bring up in our program. French jobless rate hits new record. Germany hit hardest in planned Airbus job cuts. Also in our program, technology giants Google and Samsung have signed a global patent deal. We're going to bring up that later in our program. But now, the number of people out of work in France has risen to hit a new record. Figures from December showed just over 3,300,000 were looking for work, a rise of 0.3% compared to November. Is the largest total since records have been kept, with some 177,800 joining the job list last year. The latest data confirms a steady increase in the 12 months from December to December, a 5.7% rise. There was an increase across all sectors, including part-time workers. The unemployment rate now stands at nearly 11%. The figures are a blow to President François Hollande's hopes of keeping his oft-repeated pledge to start lowering unemployment by the end of 2013. He has struggled to kickstart Europe's second biggest economy and tame unemployment. The Labour Ministry stressed there had been a clear slowdown in the rise of unemployment over the course of 2013, with new jobless claims each month much lower towards the end of the year than they had been at the start. The equivalent of almost 5,300 jobs are set to be cut at Airbus as the company's defence and space divisions are combined into one unit. The total is slightly less than was first announced last December when plans for restructuring were unveiled. The axe will fall most heavily in Germany, a union source revealed after a detailed internal briefing of the company's Works Council. It is repeated the cuts will involve 204,038 jobs in Germany, including just over 1,000 at Manching Eurofighter combat jets factory. Turkey's central bank will hold an emergency meeting of its Monetary Policy Committee after the lira hit new record lows. The bank said on its website it would release a statement at midnight on Tuesday to assess recent developments and take necessary policy measures for price stability. The central bank decided last week to hold interest rates. Analysts believe it's reluctant to raise rates for fear of slowing economic growth ahead of local elections due in March. Turkish markets have been hit by an investigation into public sector corruption involving the construction industry. You're still watching Business Weekly on Somaliland National Television. It's still to come in our program. The virtual currency Bitcoin has come under closer scrutiny from US regulators after the charging of two exchange operators with money laundering. Robert Faili and Charlie Sherman are accused of attempting to sell more than 0.7 million euros in the digital currency to users of an online drug marketplace website. Silk Road was shut down by the authorities last year after its suspected owner was arrested. The site is said to have offered drugs, false documents and other illegal services. Its alleged Shram funneled money to the site with Failer's knowledge. Bitcoin was created 4 years ago in the wake of the global financial crisis and has slowly been approaching the mainstream. Unlike other currencies, Bitcoin doesn't have the backing of a central bank or government, but due to anonymity of users making transactions, many feel is a more secure method of online payment. Technology giants Google and Samsung have signed a global patent deal. The cross-licensing agreement is aimed at enhancing innovation and reducing what the companies call the potential for litigation. Is in the words of a statement from Samsung, highly significant for the technology industry and will cover a broad range of technologies and business areas. The agreement will apply to both existing patents and any filed over the next decade. The move is expected to strengthen the company's position against rivals like Apple, which has filed multiple lawsuits worth billions of euros for alleged patent infringements. Shares in Vodafone took a knock on Monday, tumbling 6% on news AT&T had ruled out a takeover for the next 6 months. The news comes after an inquiry by Britain's takeover panel, following months of speculation. The prospect of a takeover had risen after AT&T's chief executive Randall Stephenson had said there was a huge opportunity to invest in mobile broadband in Europe. In a statement to the London Stock Exchange, the US's second largest mobile service provider denied it was planning a bid. One analyst said he thought AT&T realized Europe was still too tough a region to buy into with fierce competition driving down prices. While statistics say flying may be the safest way to travel, it's perhaps not so safe for the environment. Airplanes burn tons of fuel, and on the ground each airport consumes as much energy as a small town. Why is that? And can it be changed? The Leonardo da Vinci Fiumicino Airport near Rome is the busiest in Italy and the 6th busiest in Europe. Opened in the early 60s, it serves almost 40 million passengers every year, gobbling up as much energy as a town of 50,000 households.
Just the indoor areas of the airport span over 300,000 square meters. We use around 100,000 light appliances, and all these spaces require a lot of energy to adjust the air temperature, to warm up or cool down these large volumes of air. Ventilation systems in old airports are not very efficient. Saving energy on air conditioning without impacting on passengers' comfort is a challenge, as Andrea Costa, a researcher in civil engineering at the National University of Ireland, Galway, explains.
Just this one utility, we can significantly reduce the overall consumption.
A European research project suggests coupling sensor technology with intelligent software to make old air conditioning systems smarter. Nicholas Roholt, a researcher with HVAC, Fraunhofer Institute for Solar Energy Systems, explains more as we visit the vast interior of the ventilation system. We're right under Terminal 1 at Fiumicino Airport, and through all these kilometres of pipes, air is pumped into the terminal building. And here is an air handling unit. Units like this use a lot of thermal and electric energy. All across the underground ventilation network, researchers have installed sensors that automatically detect various hidden problems causing waste of energy, such as simultaneous heating and cooling or mechanical malfunctions. Francesco Cara, the managing director of Sensors MI Italia, tells us more about this complex technology.
All the data from sensors is collected in this unit here and then transmitted through this controller into the central database.
Intelligent software constantly analyzes the data. If a problem is detected, the software immediately informs maintenance teams so that wasting energy can be stopped as quickly as possible. Mike Brogan of Irish Smart Energy Company shows us how the system detects problems.
We can see that there's a fault here. We can click and you can see the fault has been highlighted. So it's telling us that there's some of the temperatures are out of range. There's a problem with one of the air handling units with the pumps. There's also an email gone to the energy manager, and that is notifying them of this particular fault. So they get an action which they need to follow up to make sure that the problem is corrected quickly and effectively.
The continuing research and development should result in a smart home system for airports, a simple and inexpensive solution that would save energy and reduce carbon dioxide emissions, as Nicholas Roholt of Fraunhofer Institute for Solar Energy Systems explains.
Our objective is to save 20% of energy. Ambitious, but we know it's possible.
That's it for this edition of Business Weekly. We appreciate you for your time to be with us. You can join us at the same time next week. Until then, bye-bye.